Hi friends, today we're going to continue talking about completing the square, but we're going to add a couple steps here. We're going to actually complete the square. So here, if we look at this square, we're going to figure out what needs to go in the question mark. So in this case, we know this is the same as x squared plus 2x plus something. We're trying to figure out what that other thing is to make this a perfect square. Well, if we were looking at how we were multiplying binomials back in the day, we know this would be like x plus 1, x plus 1. So that's how we get the x squared, the 1x, the 1x, and that means that this question mark would have to be 1, because 1 times 1 is 1. So in this case, the question mark would be a 1. Let's look here. I know this would be x squared plus 4x plus something. We need to figure out what that something is. As it stands right now, this is x plus 2 on the top and x plus 2 on the side, which means if we do 2 times 2 together, the question marks would be 4. So that's 4. Let's continue here. This one's going to be x squared plus 6x plus something. So I know the side is going to be x plus 3. The top is going to be x plus 3. Again, as a reminder, x times x is x squared. That's where this comes from. X times 3 is 3x. X times 3 is 3x. So this bottom one then is 3 times 3, which is 9. So that's what the question mark is. Let's look at another one. I know this will be x squared plus 8x if I combine these two, plus something. So we need to figure out what that something is. I know this is x plus 4, x plus 4. So this is x times x, 4 times x, 4 times x, which means this has to be 4 times 4, which is 16. Let's look at a couple more here. X squared plus 10x, this would be, plus something. Well, this part here would have to be 5 times 5, which is 25. And then finally, one more example here. We have x plus 6, x plus 6, which means this box would have to be 6 times 6, which is 36. So this one would be x squared plus 12x plus 36. We have completed the square on all 6 of these problems. And if you look at the number that we completed the square with, if we look here on this first one, our 2x is divided into a 1x and a 1x. And then this box was 1 times 1. Here, our 4x's were divided into a 2x and a 2x. And then this was 2 times 2. Our 6x's were divided into a 3x and a 3x. And then our c ended up being 3 times 3. Our 8x's were divided into a 4x and a 4x, and then our c was 4 times 4. Our 10x's were divided into a 5x and a 5x, and then our value for c was 5 times 5. And then here our 12x's were divided into a 6x and a 6x, and our value for c was 6 times 6. So in general, what we do, if you have an original c there, you move it to the other side of the equation. We take our b and divide by 2, and then square that and add it to each side of the equation, and then factor it like we were doing previously. So let's look here. So far, we don't have a c, so I don't have to move anything out of the way. My b is 8. It says take the b and divide by 2. So 8 divided by 2 is 4, and then square that. 4 squared is 16. So that's step 2. Divide b by 2, and then square it, and we'll add 16 then to both sides. You'll see why we want to do this in a second. So then we get x squared plus 8x plus 16 equals 11. The reason we have to add it to both sides is to keep it balanced. I can't just add something to one side of the equal sign. I got to do it to both sides. So now when we factor this, we're looking for two numbers that multiply to 16 and add to 8. We want those numbers to be the same thing, so 4 and 4. Notice, and this is not a coincidence, that when we did the b divided by 2, that's what these numbers ended up being. We call that the magic number. The magic number is 4 here. So x plus 4 squared equals 11. And now I'll square root both sides, just like we were doing previously. We get x plus 4 equals positive and negative, square root of 11. We can't break up the square root of 11, so I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides, and I get x equals negative 4 plus and minus square root of 11. Excuse me. All right, let's look at another one here. It says move our C. We don't have a C to move right now. So now the second step, take B, which is negative 6. Divide that by 2. Negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. And then we square that. Negative 3 squared is 9. So here, negative 3 is my magic number. I'm going to add 9 to both sides. And then I get x squared, take away 6x plus 9 equals 20. So again, I'm looking for two numbers that are going to multiply to 9 and add to negative 6. I know those numbers have to both be negative, and they are negative 3. Again, our magic number. So x take away 3 squared equals 20. Continuing to simplify here, I square root both sides. We have x take away 3 equals plus and minus the square root of 20. Let's see if we can break 20 up here. So 20 is 2 and 10. 10 is 2 and 5. So it looks like we can have a pair of 2's come out, and a 5 has to stay in. Finally, we'll add 3 to both sides, and we'll get x equals 3 plus and minus 2 times the square root of 5. Let's try another one here. X squared minus 8x minus 20 equals 0. So we got to get rid of that 20 to begin with. And then we have x squared minus 8x equals 20. So here, b is negative 8. If I divide that by 2, I get negative 4. Negative 4 is going to be my magic number. Negative 4 squared is 16. So I'm going to add 16 to both sides. Then I get x squared, take away 8x plus 16 is 36. So I'm looking for two numbers that are going to multiply to give me 16 and add to give me negative 8. Those numbers are negative 4 and negative 4. Again, the same as our magic number up here, which means this ends up factoring to x take away 4 squared equals 36. And if we square root both sides, we end up with x take away 4 equals positive and negative 6. That's the square root of 36. So finishing this off, x take away 4 is 6, and x take away 4 is negative 6. So adding 4, we get x equals 10. Adding 4, we get x equals negative 2. All right, this one, let's get rid of the 12. So plus 12, and then we end up with x squared plus 4x equals 12. So here my b is 4. My b divided by 2 then is 2. That's going to be my magic number. 2 to the second power is 4. So I need to add 4 to both sides. Then we have x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 16. Factoring the left side of the equation here, two numbers that multiply to 4 and add to 4 are 2 and 2. Again, the same as our magic number. So now this becomes x plus 2 squared equals 16. If I square root both sides, I end up with x plus 2 equals positive and negative 4, because that is the square root of 16. So x plus 2 is positive 4, and x plus 2 is negative 4. Subtract 2, subtract 2. We'll get x equals 2 here. Subtract 2, subtract 2. We'll get x equals negative 6. All right, let's look at a few more. So this one already has a number on the other side, which is fine. We're still going to do this the same way. b is negative 6. b divided by 2 then is negative 3. That's going to be our magic number. Negative 3 squared is 9. So I'm going to add 9 to both sides. And we get x squared minus 6x plus 9 equals 5. If I factored the left side of my equation, I would end up with x take away 3 squared is 5. And now continuing to solve this, square root of x take away 3 squared is square root of 5. So x take away 3 is positive and negative, square root of 5. I can't do anything with that square root of 5, so I'll add 3 to both sides. My final answer, 3 plus and minus the square root of 5. All right, this one, we get rid of c, so we'll add 5 to both sides. So then we have x squared plus 4x equals 7. So b is 4. 4 divided by 2 is 2. That's going to be our magic number. 2 squared is 4. So we'll add that to both sides. Then we have x squared plus 4x plus 4 equals 11. Factoring the left side, it would become x plus 2. Remember, our magic number was 2. Squared equals 11. Square rooting both sides. We would get x plus 2 equals plus and minus square root of 11. 11 is prime, so there's nothing we can do with that. So I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides, and we end up with x is negative 2 plus and minus square root of 11. All right, one more. Let's start by moving that 6 to both sides. So then I get x squared plus 10x equals negative 7. So our b is 10. 10 divided by 2 is 5. That's our magic number. 5 squared is 25. So I'm going to add 25 to both sides here. And I get x squared plus 10x plus 25 equals 18. Factoring the left side, my magic number was 5, and this ends up being x plus 5 squared equals 18. Square rooting both sides. We get x plus 5 equals square root 18. And if I look at breaking up 18, it's 2 and 9, and 9 is 3 and 3. So I have a pair of 3's I can take out. So x plus 5 equals, oops, I forgot the plus or minus. Plus and minus, we can pull out a 3. A 2 has to stay in. Take 5 from both sides. We get x equals negative 5 plus and minus 3 times the square root of 2.